This program is made possible by funding from Humanities Guahan, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Federal CARES Act.
Ihagas si man malufan na tempo. I Pasifiko na tasi, guaha undongkulo na guian. Esti na guian, mampus dongkulo na akonu I islan guahan. Ikinanonya mampus megge na akonu esta I entalo I isla. Sa asot tay tao man mo nyo para ilina la niya sa ni mamayla na tempo. Itaw mo na matungo na debi no guaha humatsogi. Lo imam pescador toda swetin niya. Istaki hundia. Guaha man medgot na man hobensita na famalawan. Gi isla mausa I fetsania jan itiningo niya para fan macoco todo siya sa mga koni esti idangkulo na guihan. Pogo guaha mas peligro gi itasi jan itano. Mas dangkulo ki idangkulo na guihan. Mas dangkulo ki isla. Afa esti na peligro I basura.
Previously on From Our Nanas for Our Nenis.
In the last episode, we looked at illegal dumping and plastic in our environment.
We learned from marine biologists about the effects of plastic and litter in our oceans.
Plastic ingested by animals can cause them to starve, and microplastics can be found virtually everywhere now, from our food to our water.
It endangers our health. You know, this stinky stuff ain't good for your body.
Our own health is tied to our environment, so it's important for us to learn about it, take care of it, and clean up after ourselves.
In this episode, we will look at a few of the solutions to our waste crisis and the plastic pandemic.
Starting with individuals, businesses, and regional government projects that reimagine waste into something new.
Plastic is nearly everywhere in the environment, and once it's used, it can be hard to imagine it as anything other than trash.
And worldwide, plastic recycling is becoming harder and harder to do.
And right now, plastics, I don't know if there's a home for. I don't think there's a home for it anywhere. There's just nobody that'll accept plastics. Yeah, the value of plastics is so low. It's tied to the price of oil to a certain degree because that's its base makeup is of oil. So when oil prices are low, it's cheaper to use virgin new oil versus using recycled material, which has all the costs of processing and shipping and all that.
So, what can our small region do about it?
So if we're going to recycle it, we're going to need to do it locally, need to do it on Guam. Don't ship it, find a way to subsidize it, take care of it ourselves. And any commodity that we can recycle locally will be a big boost into making it sustainable and to make it happen.
How can we reimagine our waste as something we can find value in once again? How can we reimagine our waste as something we can find value in once again?
Local plastic recycling is something we began here at MCCA in 2019 and 2020. We brought an initiative called Precious Plastics, which offers an alternative to traditional large-scale plastic recycling. Hear more about it from our friend and co-founder, Michelle.
When I first started Micronesia Climate Change Alliance, we were doing a lot of political advocacy work. When I linked up with Manieka de Oro, who is my work wife, my sister, my soulmate, we wanted to start tackling the climate crisis through community-based solutions, reducing waste ties in so much to the climate crisis because we live in this materialistic, consumeristic culture where we are just buying things and where we have almost been groomed to believe that our self-worth is determined by our income and the things that we own. And we're not thinking about these streams and where these products are coming from or where they're going. And we're to the point now where we are at a crisis level. I like to refer to it exactly as what it is. This is a crisis period. We either become more regenerative or we're going to keep living how we're living in this extractive economy and rob the earth of all of its resources and find ourselves in a lot of trouble in the years to come. Guam is in a sticky situation here with our waste because we produce so much that we cannot sustain it, and yet the waste that we have is not profitable enough for some investor to come in and come up with some sort of solution. And so that is how I started looking into precious plastics, because we need some sort of community-based solutions. We cannot mass produce items, and nor do we want to, because mass producing and globalism and consumerism is what got us here. And so we hope to expand precious plastics. We hope to help other people start their own little precious plastics business. We hope to educate high school students and community members alike on plastic streams and how to recycle them. This was never supposed to be a lucrative venture for us. It really is a labor of love, and we love to do it. It's honestly so much fun. But more importantly, I believe it has larger societal implications.
Small initiatives like precious plastics are ways that we can create a more circular economy, which is a system that eliminates waste and promotes the continual use of resources.
So with the circular economy, that's taking waste that would have gone into our landfill or been littered and converting that waste into usable material that we can create new items.
In the wider region, there are more businesses popping up to promote a circular economy and also exemplify the idea of a waste-to-wealth initiative. And we know what you're thinking.
What is a waste-to-wealth business?
To find the answer, we look to another business in Micronesia that recycles locally sourced banana trees into durable and eco-friendly vegan wallets.
We spoke to Matt Simpson from Green Banana Paper in Koshai to learn more.
They're making a big impact on the island, creating jobs and supporting over 100 families, local farmers, and employees.
Waste to wealth just means that you're starting with something considered waste or trash or at the end of its life and wasn't going to be used for anything else, and you upcycle it or you repurpose it, process it with some kind of machine or whatever you have and turn it into something useful again.
Waste to wealth initiatives like Green Banana Paper in Koshai and Precious Plastics in Guahan are examples of businesses taking resources that would otherwise be discarded and creating value with them. Small businesses like these contribute to the circular economy.
Green Banana Paper basically identified that we have so many banana trees all around the island and in the yard of every single family. They weren't being used, and so we figured out that there's fiber in there that we can process it into paper and that it has a value. We figured out what that value was, like operationally speaking, and we started to purchase waste banana trees, farmers all over the island, and give them some extra revenue from that. And then we also were able to create a lot of jobs through the processing of those trees at our factory. And then we were able to create more jobs through the selling of those items that we made, the service that we provide with that paper. So that's waste to wealth. And this is a never-ending process where the banana trees are already there everywhere on the island. They never stop growing. You don't have to plant new banana trees.
The circular economy is a systemic approach to economic development designed to benefit businesses, society, and the environment. In contrast to the take, make, waste linear model, a circular economy is regenerative by design and aims to gradually reduce our reliance on finite resources.
The circular economy benefits this small communities so much because you know, we don't have a lot, we don't have much, we don't want to import stuff that to make a living, to make some kind of business. We don't want to import fresh plastic or things that, you know, are going to contribute to harming the environment. And if we look around and we take any kind of waste that you can find and kind of give it a new life cycle, just like Mother Nature intended.
We hope to see more of these types of initiatives in the future, along with new ways to reimagine all the waste we have produced and all the trash we have created, including the whole landfill.
Hafade Toru Hanzu, Guahusi Jasmine, creator of New Matlow, a new zero waste refillery on wheels, and I'm here today to bring you some tips, tricks, and insight on how to begin your low waste journey. Today we're going to cover the number 4 of the 5 big R's of zero waste living, which is recycling. There's a wide misconception that all plastic is recyclable, when in reality only a mere 9% of plastic is actually reused. Recycling is actually the last step you should take before you refuse, reduce, and reuse your products. But recycling is in fact a process that's here to stay, so it's better to be informed about what materials are truly recyclable so that we can recycle and improve our system. Here are some tips on how you can start recycling more effectively. My first tip is try your best to purchase glass and metal products because they are infinitely recyclable. So again, try your best to buy glass or products like metal tins instead of plastic packaging. Second is always wash the material that you're going to recycle. More often than not, people toss dirty and soiled products into their recycling bins, and those things are actually contaminated and never make it to the recycling process. So please make sure you wash your jars and containers and empty out all your soda cans so that they can make it to the recycling process. Lastly, take advantage of the multiple recycling options available on our island. Guam Solid Waste Authority provides free recycling bins that you can put on the side of the road, and they accept fibrous materials such as cardboard, mixed paper, cereal boxes. They also accept glass as well as plastic types number 1 and 2. iRecycle Guam is an aluminum recycling program that provides recycling bins at various school locations on island, and you can drop your aluminum tin cans for free. And lastly, don't forget about Precious Plastics, which is an amazing program that upcycles plastics number 2 and 5 into some awesome products such as plant pots, keychains, and plates and bowls, and that's just to name a few. My pro tip is to gain familiarity with the types of plastic by looking at the plastic symbol and number on the packaging. This way, you can be mindful about what types of plastic you're bringing into your home, and please try and make sure there are types of plastic that Guam can handle and put into our recycling process. If you like these tips and tricks and you want to invest in our island, please consider donating to our Kickstarter launching next month in May. This has been Jasmine signing off with New Matlow, wishing you the very best on your low waste journey. And please don't forget that every individual effort does count towards building our collective resiliency against the plastic pandemic.
My name is Michelle and I'm with the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance. We are a grassroots nonprofit dedicated to creating community-based solutions to the climate crisis. and I'm here to talk about our Precious Plastics program. Precious Plastics are these machines in the back of me which allow us to grind, melt, and inject Guam's plastic waste and create new niche items like flower pots, magnets, keychains, soap holders, and endless possibilities of things that we can create with Guam's recycled plastic waste. So today we're going to be making one of our most popular items, which is our flower pots. We do this by a 6-step process. First, we have to collect them, then we clean them, sort them, cut them, shred them, and melt them down. So the first step is collecting the plastic. We collect residential plastic. Anyone is welcome to come and drop it off. And the best way to contact us is via social media at Micronesia Climate Alliance. We collect plastic number 2 and number 5. To find out what kind of plastic an item is, you can always look on the bottom, and there should be a triangular shape with a number in it. We do request our community members to drop off clean plastic for us, especially given COVID times. However, we also work with high schools and give high school students service learning hours for cleaning the plastics for us. After the plastics have been cleaned, then we sort them. So as I mentioned before, we collect plastic number 2, which is high density polyethylene. That's a big name. You can also call it HDPE for short. Some examples of HDPE are laundry detergents, usually household cleaners like bleach, shampoo bottles. And then we separate the number 5 plastics, which is polypropylene, which you can also call PP for short, which is funny. Some examples of PP are food containers, usually like butters, yogurts, those are all number 5s. After we have sorted the plastic, then we begin cutting down the plastic, which is a bit tedious. We do have to cut it into smaller pieces before we can actually shred it. Okay, so once we have done all that, now we get into the fun part, which is shredding. We take all those tiny pieces of plastic and we put them in our shredder, which is so much fun to watch it all grind down. It also makes a really nice noise. Low-key thinking about making a YouTube channel for ASMR shreds. And then once they have gotten into little teeny tiny pieces, then we put them in our machines and we get to work. After we have shredded the plastics, we take those flakes and we dump them into the hopper of our extrusion machine, which heats up to around 400 degrees. And then that plastic comes out into a long string in which we wrap around a mold and make our plastic pots with. Here at MCCA, we are a woman-run, millennial-managed organization, and we are small but mighty. We always try to uplift other small, local, grassroots organizations, and we really want to build upon this program and keep uplifting our community and keep raising awareness on climate justice issues, on plastic waste, on Indigenous rights. And so your support really means everything to us. If you would like to get more involved with us, if you would like to donate, if you would like to become a community partner or sponsor us, please reach out to us. We are small, we are mighty, and we would really like to keep building upon our...
How can we take an entire landfill or dump like the Ordot dump and bring value to our community with it once again?
We spoke to Elizabeth Balahaja, an engineer in Saipan who helped do just that.
My name is Elizabeth Balahaja, and I am a civil engineer. I was the project manager for the Peace Park. I work for the governor's office, and it's the Office of Capital Improvement, and it is funded by the Department of Interior, Office of Insular Affairs. It took almost 23 years and took about $27 million to do this project. One of the reasons is that when you talk about closure of an existing dump site, and you just meant closure, it doesn't have to look like the Peace Park. And so it went through a series of 4 administrations, really, 4 governors. And, they came up with conceptual design. I believe the last design was that to close it and enclose it with a chain link fence. During the Governor Fitiel's time, the people that were working with the the solution to the closure of the Puerto Rico dump site, saw it as being, wow, you're just going to put a chain link fence. It's located down by the seashore. It's in the Garapan area, which is a tourist district. And so, they came up with different designs. They thought about floating hotels. They talked about a park. They thought about the basic closure. And so in order for it to sort of coincide with the Garapan district, the Managaha Island, the American Memorial Park, and the Garapan Tourist District, they wanted to be more eco-friendly and, for people to give back to the people for their use. And so that was the idea of coming up with a park.
What was the history of the dump?
The CNMI owned it as a dump site. And so, that was used as our open dump site, which is, it's an illegal activity. 1994, 1997, there was a consent decree from the department or the US EPA. And so the consent decree allowed the CNMI to come up with a plan, how to close the Puerto Rico dump, because we're being cited for discharging pollutants into the lagoon, and that's against the Clean Water Act. It was designed to close it. And when you design to close it, of course, you're supposed to collect the leachate, because over time, remember that there's a large heap of trash, any kind of trash you want to find. Some may be hazardous, some are probably just oil, but eventually all these are the facilities designed so that it can channel any of the leakage of the leachate. And that's why in the park there are several ponding areas, a drainage system that goes down and around, and then it goes to a settling basin. And eventually, if it clears, it just goes out to the ocean, to the lagoon. So whatever we found, 110,000 cubic yards of waste. There were approximately 29,000 of tires that they shredded, and then they backfilled it into the facility. So everything that was there, you either shred and use it as a backfill on the facility. We use different kinds of liners so that, hoping that it's never going to puncture, because we don't want the leachate to be just going anywhere. We want the leachate to follow where the channels of the leachate pipes are designed for, and to discharge. Yeah. So, and those are the things that we monitor, because we want to make sure that, we find that there's still leachate flowing from below there.
The Peace Park in Saipan is a source of inspiration for us.
It is a concrete example of how our trash could be transformed into something useful and beautiful for our community.
We want to emphasize the importance of collaboration between businesses, community, individuals, and the government in finding solutions for our waste crisis.
We can do more to turn off the tap of plastic waste by pressuring manufacturers and businesses to choose a better packaging for the planet.
We can greatly reduce our waste by enacting more bans. We can do more to reduce our personal waste by adopting new lifestyle habits.
And we can support local efforts to turn our waste into wealth and adopt a circular, regenerative economy.